congratulations might be in due because you might have been just engaged or thinking about it. Let's talk about it.
What to even say about that?
Okay, so this video is to help you whether you just got engaged, thinking about getting engaged, you're seriously dating and wanting to be married and engaged. What should you do to have a happy, healthy, amazing marriage? So you have all the answers.
I do not have all the answers, but we sure did a lot of preparation before we got engaged. And then once we got engaged, we did some prep work also, and it has benefited our marriage so much. So we're going to share the nitty-gritty details of what we did with you. And so if there's any of this that you like, try it out. And if not, no big deal. But it's been really helpful for us.
Yeah. The point is, don't waste your dating and don't waste your engagement. It's key moments to set yourself up for your marriage. So how to have the best marriage before you even married. That's what this podcast is. And we were engaged
just under 6 months.
6 months almost.
Okay.
Yes. And so that's a great question. If you just got engaged, think about engaged. How long should you be engaged? We recommend shorter the better, baby. Come on.
Well, we had a year and a half of dating before we got engaged. Yeah. So we had lived a little life.
They say it's good to do all the seasons together, summer and winter, before you decide to get married.
Yeah. And there are, some things where
exceptions. You've known the person forever.
And then the other way, sometimes you want a shorter engagement, but someone is getting deployed or something, there are things. Sure. But I do think sometimes, now again, this is not biblical. This is just what we have seen and experienced. I think there's this feeling that you're going to need so much more time and engagement than you actually do need. And honestly, as we talk about it, we had a 6-month engagement, and you and I even wish we would have gotten married earlier. We love being married. We love each other, and we just love our life together. And we're glad.
People are crazy. I mean, they wait. They're dating for 7 years, and then they're like, okay, maybe we should finally get married. And then they're like, yeah, now that we're engaged, let's have a 3-year engagement. I'm like, do you have a sex drive? It's just let's be real. I mean, seriously, if purity matters to you and you want to honor the Lord in that area, have a short engagement. That's just what it comes down to. Because once you get engaged, you're like, we're married. She's mine. I'm hers. Let's just get spicy. You know what I'm saying? It's a real temptation. And so 1 Corinthians 7 says it's better to be married than to burn with lust. And if you can't control yourself, man, get married. And so Paul's saying sexual temptation is strong. And so you should get married. And so don't put it off forever. Just get married so you can honor the Lord.
And I want to caveat that with, we're saying once you are engaged. So it's not like you're just like, I'm marrying you because I want to have sex with you and you're attractive to me. And that it's this solution to lust. It's not like that. It's like, I know that you are the person I want to spend my life with. We have dated. We've had these conversations. Yeah,
we dated for over a year before we even kissed each other. So it's not like you get to know the person before it's a physical thing.
It's not like we were like, we're only marrying you for the sex. But sex is a nice part of marriage. And we're both glad we waited. Yes. And I think having a longer engagement wouldn't have helped us wait. Mm-hmm. But I do think we should just get into it of what do you need to prepare.
You should have a wedding, whether it's big or small. I think the point is, in my opinion, don't go for super glam and glory. If you can afford that, great. The point is just to have something where everyone you love that you want to be there is there, and you have a ceremony before the Lord and you're married. I don't feel like there's all this pressure at the perfect picturesque wedding. But
and some people that I have a girl I know, she's really sweet, and they just had a really sweet marriage on the beach, simple wedding, and it was exactly what they wanted. And I think that's more what it's about. And don't put all the pressure on the wedding that then your marriage begins and you're like,
So many people put so much effort into the planning the wedding and stuff, but how much prep did you put into the marriage? And that's what we're going to talk about here. So great things is there's this assessment, prepareenrich.com/assessment hyphen premarital, a premarital assessment where you and your fiance take this 278 question assessment, a lot of questions, but then it breaks down to like, what are going to be your conflict areas? What are your strong areas?
And it was right.
And it was right. Everything it predicted, like for us, extended family issues was part of our definitely conflict that was going to happen. And it's just a great assessment to build awareness of what your strengths are of your relationship, what your weaknesses are, and what you can know is coming, and to communicate on some of these things and get on the same page before the problems really come.
And that honestly is a huge thing, because when you're engaged, you're willing to give a little more, because you're just like, "Ooh, I love you so much. This is awesome.
We'll never have any issues. We have no financial pressure yet. No mortgage. No rent."
But really, when you go through it ahead of time, you're walking the path, and you're able to discuss it in a less intense way because you're not there yet. Mm-hmm. So you're as you're pre-discussing, it can make the disagreement that comes ahead not as intense, because you're willing to like really look and see the other sides of what that person is bringing into it. So you're like, oh, this will be potentially a huge problem because this was always such an important thing to you growing up, and I never cared about that, or whatever the case may be, where you can know that ahead of time, and it kind of gives you more grace when the situation arises. But at least for us, Prepare and Rich, it was huge. Exactly right. And we got to do it with Chuck, who's amazing.
Who's an amazing elder of this church who has decades of marriage counseling experience and pastoring experience. He had great insights to share with us. So I recommend going through it with somebody. The next one is go through a premarital counseling book or workbook with someone. We went through Before You Say You Do devotional with Eric and Mary Combs, amazing married couple that poured into us intentionally over like 6 or 7 meetings, or I can't remember how many it was, but it was great time with them, and they have just amazing marriage, and we're able to use that book to. And one thing about that book that I really loved is there's this one page of like, write down 20 things that you expect your spouse will do for you when you're married. And then she wrote down mine, I wrote down hers, and then we talked about it. And then the part 2 of that was, if they don't do this, how will that make you feel, or something like that. And great conversations. And I think a lot of fights were probably saved over having that conversation.
Yeah, because it was just things I certainly wouldn't have thought of, and you wouldn't have thought of for me. Mm-hmm. And you've picked up clothes from the beginning of our marriage, and I've really appreciated that. And I think that probably came from me, having an expectation that you would do some of that. And I will say, whenever you choose who you're going to do it with, it was helpful that it was a guy and a girl, that it's not just like you're just meeting with the husband or just the wife, but that you're meeting with the couple, because you're a married couple, and it was helpful, or you're wanting to be a married couple, but also find someone to do it with that you like their marriage. Like you see, so Eric and Mary just have this beautiful, life-giving marriage. They're such encouragers. They love God. They love their family. And we just were so blessed by our interactions with them.
Yeah. So great, finding great couples to do this stuff with is huge. We read the book, Honey, We Need to Talk. And we read that right before we got engaged, actually. And that was such a great book on building communication. Pastor Joey says, you're only as sick as your secrets. And so this book was great for getting no secrets between us. We talk about everything. Your marriage will live and die on communication. The more intimate your communication is, the less secrets you have, the greater the intimacy, the more terrible the communication, the more further apart you're going to be. And so this book is an excellent book to communicate about everything. And so highly recommend that.
Yeah, and what it does is it clears the deck, that before you get engaged, there's no secrets hiding in your closet. There's nothing that you're like, oh, if they only knew this, I don't know how they would respond. You are freeing yourself, because he makes this great point in the book of, if this is someone you want to marry, it's never going to be an easier time to tell them. Like, the stakes only get higher.
Yep. And then they're going to be mad at you that you kept it a secret for so long.
So just tell them now. And it gives you an easy in to telling them then, And so really helpful, and talk about your hurts and things. And there's also lighter conversation pieces in there.
Oh yeah, lots of funny. He's hilarious, the author. He's so
funny. And it was great during dating, but it would be great at any point as well.
Yeah, another huge thing is, so many marriages get divorced over financial issues. And there's so many stresses in life. If you can get your finances under control and on the same page, what a win. Such a great way that we did that is going through Financial Peace University with Dave Ramsey. And we did that with your parents, Pastor Joey and Jenny. Man, if you can go through that and go through it with somebody that can really pour into you and help you get on the same page finances, man, watch out. Your marriage is going to be strong.
Yeah, and honestly, you don't have to agree with every single thing that Dave Ramsey says, but we agree with pretty much all of it, but just doing that was so helpful of what are your expectations, what are mine, where are we both at financially, what are we hoping to spend money on, what does this look like you're creating a budget, what a great thing to do when you're engaged before you're actually like we're merging the bank accounts and this is what we're doing. It's so helpful. And the reality is, I mean, we were doing Dave Ramsey and we ended up in this crazy car accident. And bam, $15,000 in medical bills that we weren't. It's not like we did anything. Somebody hit us, but we got to pay for the medical bills, and so. Yeah.
And speaking on like picking on what place you're going to live, apartment, whatever. You were a PA, so we were making good money. At least you were making good money. We're about to get married, so it's our money now. Praise the Lord. But we specifically chose an apartment that we thought would not be a burden on us financially. Like we could have picked on nice because you were making good money, but we picked on like more like teacher money that I was about to be, so that we could afford it and start to put away money, save up, pay off debt. Build an emergency fund, all these things that really helped us not have pressure and stress on our marriage.
Yeah, and it helped us for where we are now. Yes. And, we could go on about that.
Obviously, do your own personal Bible reading and prayer time individually, not just as a couple. It's so important to keep your own personal relationship with God strong, and I would encourage you in that. We read through different marriage books. One would be You and Me Forever by Francis Chan. Recommend that one. Great one. And then we recommend this part a couple months before you actually get married, but it's so important to do it, is to go through some books on sex before you get married. Did you say
a couple months? Because I feel like we didn't do it until like 6 weeks before.
I don't know. We have strong passion for each other, so whatever you can handle. But then when you talk about in public place, not in a house by yourself.
Like, we're gonna just chat at our at your apartment or whatever.
But like Ed Wheat's Intended for Pleasure just gives you all the understanding of like, if you were virgins like both of us were, like, how does sex work? What are some things you should know? And even if you had sex before, a lot of times this book really enlightens you to how to have better sex and how to do it the way God designed it.
And if you've had sex before, there's probably going to be a little bit of baggage you're bringing into it if you've had it with somebody else or something like that. Or even if you as a couple have already had sex before, it can just be really a helpful thing. It probably sounds like, I think I have heard this comment a lot. Oh, you'll just figure it out together. Well, yes, like you might figure out the technical aspects, but actually like going through and talking about concerns or insecurities you have about different things. And we had a lot of fun talking about what that first night was going to look like.
And it was the best night ever. It really was fantastic.
So
man, if you can start your sex life off with a win, which what these conversations do, it's awesome. Praise the Lord.
It's only gotten better.
Yes, for sure. Another great book is Getting Your Sex Life Off to a Great Start by the Penners. Good. Man, we had so many great conversations off of that book of things we were afraid of, things we were worried about, insecurities, like so many things that made that night so much better in our first,
Yeah, not just that night, but just like I feel like our whole attitude about it.
Trajectory.
And you know what it also does? It makes it not uncomfortable to talk to each other. If there is something that's like, oh, I didn't like how this went, or I don't like this part.
And it's honestly so fun. I had a lot of fun.
It is fun.
And what was the book you read, the woman's book?
It was like 21 questions for married or for Christian women about sex. It was Linda Dillow wrote it.
You'll find that.
And it was really helpful for me just to have that. And then there was the one book that we read. That was another. It was the author of Honey, We Need to Talk, David Clark.
Oh, Kiss Me Like You Mean It. Yeah.
Which, if you're not like us trying to read like 18 books in your engagement, you could probably summarize what we loved about that in the one. There were like two big things about that book that we loved.
Yeah.
And one of them was just like, what is your kissing life like? Actually can say a lot about where you're at. And I think he actually talked about like keeping your room clean. And
that was helpful for me.
What woman's going to want to have sex if your bedroom's a disaster and like she can see all these piles? I'm like, yeah, that's a good point.
Was helpful. Yeah. And then go on a honeymoon, spend some money for that. You know, you don't need to go to Paris or whatever and drop millions of dollars, but we just went up to the mountains in Asheville and North Carolina and Gatlinburg, and it had, I don't know, we spent like maybe $1,000. I'm not sure, somewhere around there. But it was fantastic. And so I encourage you to do something like that. And hope your marriage and engagement goes off to a great start. And any other final thoughts?
One other thing that we did, we said that we did marriage counseling. We've mentioned a few different couples that were helpful and also meeting with Chuck, but we actually set up ahead of time that we were going to have a meeting 6 months into our marriage of marriage counseling. That marriage counseling is not taboo. It's a good thing.
It's like car
maintenance.
Great
thing. And so we set that up, and it was actually helpful. I think that first one in particular, there were a couple of things as we kind of got started in marriage that were some bumps in the road. And so we were able to just kind of talk about it with Chuck. And so I think that's important too. Don't feel like, marriage counseling is just if we're struggling.
Yeah.
Set it up. Let it be a more regular thing. And then, you can kind of ease off and just when you really need it.
Yeah.
So.
And real quick, I heard this in a Focus on the Family podcast I was listening to, getting ready for marriage. It's be gentle, be easy on your first year of marriage. Yeah. Not every problem that you have is going to be how the rest of the marriage goes, So don't be super intense that everything's got to be perfect and just right. Just enjoy it,
Which we didn't do that. But we did enjoy our first year. But I mean, we didn't do the be gentle and be easy.
No,
but we felt like every fight was like...
it was still hard. And I knew that.
We have to give it...
but that still helped me, I feel like, to not be as crazy.
And even then, our first year was great.
Yes.
But I feel like if we could go back, we would have been like...
Chill out, guys.
Yeah,
it's going to be okay.
Guys. You don't have to fight like this about whatever the thing even was. It was so funny.
But yeah, that's good. Cool. Well, God bless you guys. Hope this was a blessing to you. Thanks so much for listening.
And this is the baby, in case you've been...
As baby 5.
Following us along.
Lydia.
Miss Lydia Elizabeth Lynn is here with us. So
praise the Lord.
We're grateful she joined the group.
Yes. Bye.